bullshit a little bit. So yeah, we are now in the after show. Whoa. Yeah. Best after show intro ever, guys. Thank you. That was spot on.
We need to cap that and reuse it.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
all the time.
Yes. Audio.
So...
yes, we will do that. So yeah, so Xano, like you said, once you've done the daily rep, you don't know what else you're gonna do, and that's kind of what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of hitting that point.
Yeah.
And because like I don't want to be sitting in my garrison again. I don't want to just come on when there's fucking raiding to do. Like, as much as I enjoyed the raid so far, that's not what I want to do.
I don't think that's going to be an issue anymore. And the reason why I think that is because we'll have mythic dungeons to do. You might aim to do a mythic dungeon a night. Now, we might not be playing Warcraft all the time. But I could see coming on a not raid night, being like, oh, I'm gonna do Mythic Dungeon night. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And then play for a bit, and then get off. And then come the weekends, we're gonna have the random bonus things.
Yeah, that's true.
We did 5 Time Walker dungeons today. We went back and did Burning Crusade stuff.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, despite
it was really, really easy for sure, but it was still a lot of fun.
Are they planning on doing that like into raids and stuff as well?
I don't know. I know for sure for now it's just the 5-man dungeons.
Because man, let's all go back and do Ulduar. Holy crap! That's my favorite.
That Molten Core LFR, that was so much fun.
Oh my god.
No.
The spell curses.
It was a shit show. Don't get me wrong.
The curses.
But I had a lot of fun.
I hated the curses.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I think it'd be really cool for them to do an Ulduar, and then they scaled you to 226 gear.
Oh yes.
Or whatever the requirement to get Herald of the Titans is, and you do Ulduar, and for one weekend everyone gets a chance to do Herald of the Titans.
Yes.
Yeah, as opposed to having to do this really crazy, wild, and special thing. To not only do you have to get your tune together, but you got to stop your XP at 80, and so that you can farm your best in slots for the level to.
Well, you don't have to.
Then you got to get 20.
Right? You just have to have all that eye level gear.
No, you have to be level 80.
Oh really?
If you're 81, you don't get the achievement.
Rash and I tried to organize that. We literally we had alts and we level capped them to 80, like stop their XP, and we went in and basically we would just run each other through with our mains at the time and try to get the gear and stuff, and so we could do it. And when it came down to doing it, we had a bunch of monkeys, and I don't even remember who. I just remember Morgorn, and you probably know why I remember Morgorn. And so we were trying to do it, and it was just kind of like a clusterfuck, because I obviously wasn't into raiding, so I wasn't really familiar with raid leading. Rash wasn't into raid leading either, so we were kind of just like a group of people with no leader, and it was kind of that made an issue.
You just had a bunch of Indians with no chief, right?
That is racist, good sir. Get the fuck out.
No, that's like a saying. Have you never heard that saying?
No.
That's the non-racist saying.
Actually, the saying is. I was gonna say the saying is too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's really.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll let that pass.
It was not derogatory in any way. It was,
well, I would argue
simply, No,
I would argue
using the hierarchical or whatever you want to call it form of society where they had a chief and then they had Indians.
I would argue that the origin of the phrase, however, was rather derogatory.
Okay,
but it's
it's
now lost its derogatory sense because it's now part of just random. It's part of the vernacular.
Yeah.
But when it started, it was rather derogatory.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways,
they're the only people we Americans hate more than African Americans are Native Americans.
Yeah. Well, let's divert this conversation and go somewhere way off track.
You don't want to talk about the dark side of American history? It's the only interesting part of it.
Yeah. Well, let's keep the Debbie Downers off the stream for a little bit longer.
Oh, come on!
But yeah, so it was basically a shit show. But yeah, we had to have 80s and like all that stuff in us. God damn it, Joel.
Oh, fucking Canadians.
Any Hoodle. But yeah, so I still want the achievement. I know Brash still wants it, but I don't think I have a level 80 anymore. I think I leveled her.
Right, like I'd have to create an 80, and I'd have to do it.
Thing, yeah.
But it'd be pretty cool to Cold War weekend. And
yeah, totally.
We gear everybody to, put everybody to 80, and we make everybody's item level 226 or whatever it's needed for the achievement and for the weekend. Even if they have to they have to do some tweaks so that it's 10-man, or they find some way of maybe manipulating it a little bit. And you go, since it's going to be scaling, you do you tweak the player scaling a little bit, so maybe it's a little bit easier. You could actually pug it or LFR it. Not that you ever really want to LFR it, but and then
Of course they would.
I don't know. I don't think
get your head on the Titans.
I feel like for an achievement like that, I feel like you should make it not LFR. I feel like it's something that you need to get your own group together for.
That's fair, and I wouldn't have any issue with that at all.
Because I feel like the people that had worked and hard and get the achievement, now these kids can just come in LFR, AFK, and then still get it, right? So,
no, I get that, but yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It here in the last in Kata it was still pretty prestigious. In Pandaria, it's not anymore. If you saw a Herald of the Titan in Wrath, they were gods.
Yeah.
But it's kind of lost its meaning. It's like the the Time Lost Proto Drake or Invincible or Mimiron's Head. Eventually, far enough along the line, it's just not as prestigious as it used to be. That being said, that's because the people who got it at the time have the new prestigious thing.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, I agree with you there. I definitely agree with you there. Yeah.
I definitely think that having some sort of raid concept, because like even though Kata wasn't that long ago, it would be cool to, because I never got to do the like Bastion of Twilight, all like those first raids.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, but it would still since I joined in Kata, like Kata's like a monument for me. So like the fact that being able to go back and do those things that I missed would be really cool for me, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's cool. The only fights I liked in the opening tier of Cataclysm was Chagall and Nefarian, and I really liked Nefarian because I was the Fury Warrior who 10-man who had to tank the ads with with my two-handed mace and my shield, because someone had to do it, and you couldn't really have a third tank in 10-man. And then Chagall was just a fun fight. Like I enjoyed the Chagall fight. But the Dragon Twins, that fight was annoying. Hellfist, that fight was dumb.
Well,
I never actually got to see Sinestra at level, but I guess Atramedes was kind of okay. The worm was nothing to write home about. Omnitron defense system.
Going back, the context is having a concept of going into old raids, and we were talking about Old War, and now we're talking about Kata.
He wants to do Cataclysm. Wants to do the Kata raids, the opening tier Kata raids, while they were relevant, and I'm just telling him he's not missing very much.
Yeah, like the Archimedes guy or whatever, the dragon. Like because I've gone in there and done like to get the tier or whatever, like obviously not relevant, and just the fact that he's blind and he's using like that is really cool, like that concept, and it was just
don't get me wrong,
it worked properly.
No, the sound mechanic was really cool, and at level it was really interesting, and You know, the person running the gongs and doing the gongs. You know, if they weren't good at what they did, you weren't gonna get through the fight. Like, that's just the way it was.
Or you just hide behind a wall.
There wasn't a wall to hide behind that I remember. Although you might have been able to have run out of the room, but I think in that case, if you ran out of the room, it reset the boss.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, I think the time walking raids would be really cool, and I'm sure Blizz is working on it. But because they in the interview they said that they've been wanting to get these time walker dungeons out for a long time.
Yeah, because that's easy stuff that they can, like, you know, it's a whole lot of content that with just a little bit of work they can, you know, make available to
Right.
a lot of the newer people. For instance, with this whole 90 boost being around, you know, people just skipping straight through that content.
Yeah,
I mean,
I hate
that's
that.
a lot of money that they put into that, and so that's like, you know, profit sitting on the table, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they've had, I mean, like the biggest hurdle they had to get over was the scaling tech.
Yeah, the scale.
And with, you know, with proving grounds, with challenge modes, I mean, they've got the scaling tech down now. Like, Time Walker at this point, all they had to do was adjust player level.
No, basically.
And now they've figured out how to do that. So I mean,
So they just need
now
to
they just got to perfect tuning.
paste, basically.
Yeah, and then after this, they can go, you know, to similar to what like Final Fantasy has, and that you can just like downscale your level to play with like some of your newer friends that maybe don't want to spend $60 on a. Well, I guess they would get it free with the game, but you know, they don't want to do the level 90 boost. Yeah, they want to like actually play through the old content. Then you'd be able to like scale your level down and play with them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've found that WoW players, when they do that with friends, tend to want to roll a new tune.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess in the sense, you know, for like Final Fantasy, you just have one tune.
Yeah.
So I guess that does make more sense.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that, Rash.
But then you run into the issue where you have the veteran players and they have all the classes, like me. I have every class.
Yeah.
Well, I have every class too, but I don't.
I don't know.
100.
Yeah, but I just don't really want to roll a new tune because I've already played every tune.
Times. I get that, and that happens. But let's be honest, how many new people are you bringing to the game?
Yeah, not many.
Yeah, I like.
I was for a while. I brought a lot of new people to the game.
Right? No, and
nowadays it's just No.
I get that. Like, I mean, at this point, we've been around long enough that all of the people we might corrupt into playing the game, we've corrupted into playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Brash said, like WildStar had a mentor system, and it was basically the same thing. You just mentored a tune or a friend or whatever, and you were that level, and you could help them out. And I like this system. I didn't really use it much because we didn't play very much, fortunately. But it is a cool concept. But I just feel like in WoW at this point, even though it would be awesome,
it's not really necessary.
No, exactly. But the time walking thing is really cool. Like, I think it is unfortunate that like your dude didn't get any XP really from.
Yeah, because I would have totally just, you know, queued up for like dungeons like crazy and just, you know, done that and quested and had a blast. But now I just don't even want to do it until I hit max level because, well, I don't get any XP for it. So it's like, why do that when there's like, you know, I have dungeons that I can do now. I don't know. Maybe they are catering it to just more of like a, you know,
nostalgia.
Well, they don't want the nostalgia feel to lose.
Yeah.
Which, if it's around permanently, it would. And I'd like to maybe shift a bit to what Brash just said. I don't think they can. And the reason why I say that is our generation. I mean, some of the older of us might have played some EverQuest.
I mean, I played some EverQuest, or EverQuest 2, I guess.
Well, yeah, but those are different. I mean, EverQuest and EverQuest 2 were different.
Right.
And WoW was the game that EverQuest wasn't exactly easy, or new player friendly for that matter, or casual player friendly. And WoW's were really where we learned and where we grew with, and it was the game we grew up with at this point. I mean, unfortunately, WoW's been around for almost 11 years now. It'll be 11 in November, and because of that, you know, it's really kind of at the point that it's not going to be able to always be that way, that thing that hooked us. And it hooks, and the new people it hooks for different reasons.
Yeah, like my girlfriend, she loves the game. She's never played it before, and she loves it. And so, I mean, I don't know why it hooks her, but yeah, it still hooks people. It's just, it's not as big now because so many people have already played it, right? The people that it would have hooked may have already gotten hooked on it, and then now it's just like the people that stay, or you know, people that have become of age. I don't know. It's not
even just that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted to play a character game that had some grouping, I'd rather play Star Wars. Yeah. Like, I feel that BioWare just tends to tell stories better.
Yeah,
I'd probably still be playing Star Wars a bit more if it hadn't been for the last 2 expansions. Didn't have any class quests, which is going to change in their new expansion they've announced. That one's going to be basically single player. You know, it's going to be all pretty much class quests. Because of that, I'll level my Sith Inquisitor up. I'll play through it because, you know, that's what I enjoyed about it.
Right.
But I think it's more of the market has been so saturated now that people who are going to play WoW are going to be the people who play WoW. Otherwise, there's another game that better caters to them.
I agree with you there.
The thing, Brash, is like, obviously I don't have the vanilla perspective, but is like, I agree. Like, I feel like there's some things they could potentially bring back that would help, but
like
I don't.
Like just for an example.
Like harder dungeon content. Like, yeah, they brought back mythic dungeons, but they didn't bring any new dungeons. I feel like dungeons were an essential part of vanilla and Burning Crusade, and shit was fucking hard. And sure, like, people are gonna be like, oh, it's too hard, but the thing is like, again, it comes back for me for the learning thing. You learn so much shit from doing hard content because you wipe and you learn from your mistakes, and that process is amazing. And like, when you defeat something that's like been challenging and you're wiping on, you just get a sense of this, like, bam, like, that's a story, that's something you shared with a group of your friends, with people that you enjoy being around. And I think that's what's missing in the game. And exactly, raiding alone, people get burnt out on, especially, like, you could see how all of us were burnt out, except for Arculus, on Blackrock Foundry.
Right, no, I think the only reason why Arculus avoided that is he disappeared for a month.
Yeah. I had good reason though. I was finishing up with finals in school.
No, I didn't say you didn't have a good reason for it. I just said you didn't. Yeah. Now, something to play devil's advocate here though. Blizzard had to fail at some point, and in order to learn from those mistakes. Like, I think moving forward, we'll have normal, heroic, and we'll have mythic dungeon. We'll have normal, heroic, mythic, and challenge mode dungeons from the get-go, and from expansions here on out. Now, mythic dungeons may not come out right away.
Right.
You know, they may be the 6.1 effective, you know, slide in, and that might be there instead of adding new dungeons. Although, that being said, I'm pretty sure at this point they've learned they've got to bring new 5-mans.
Yeah.
As part of their story progression.
They need more of them too, because you look at, I mean, you just look at the adventure guide or whatever, and you look at like the older, you know, expansions, and I mean they have twice to 3 times as many dungeons.
Now, no, yes, they have twice to 3 many times as dungeons, but they were in groups of 3, especially in Burning Crusade, and they used the exact same assets.
Yeah, but they were still there. I mean, they were there nonetheless.
No, I get.
We don't even have.
But honestly, you were running the same. You were running. It was one dungeon broken into 3 parts.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But
where
one of the things that I really liked that they did is when they brought the sun Isle or whatever in Burning Crusade. That was probably one of my favorite things when they.
I enjoyed the Isle of Quel'Delenos. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. And I feel like if they did something like that in this game, it could bring something back. And also, like, there's no PvP. Like, they didn't do anything for the PvP side of things.
What's
And
PvP?
Well, now, unfortunately, I can't speak to that. I do not enjoy PvP. The games I enjoy PvP, I enjoy like honest player versus player. I'll enjoy it. I enjoy it in first-person shooters when I'm sitting on the couch playing with my friends. I enjoy it in like massive brawlers like Smash Bros when I'm playing with my friends. Like Hearthstone PvP, I enjoy. MOBAs and like Warcraft PvP, I don't enjoy it at all. And it's not because I'm not good at it. Like I'm fairly decent when it comes to a MOBA. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
So because of that, I can't really speak to the whole PvP thing. I did some PvP healing in Cataclysm on my Pally, and that was a lot of fun doing arenas. But I think that was more because I was doing it. I was still kind of becoming a monkey at that point.
Right. Yeah.
But I can't speak to. To be honest, I think the bit I know of the PvP, Blizzard needs to admit that PvP and PvE are two separate games. They might exist in the same one, but they are two separate games.
I agree with
They
you
need to
there.
split them apart, and they need to balance them accordingly.
Yeah, I agree. And like I tend to do a lot of PvP at the end of an expansion because there's nothing much else to do. And like I do enjoy PvP to a point. I mean, obviously I get kind of burnt out and you can't really like progress very far on your rating or whatever when you get to a certain point. But I completely agree. PvP is always like, it always seems like because they're a part of the same game, one thing gets nerfed and it fucks everything for PvP or vice versa, and it's just it kind of just doesn't make any sense. It's just like they are completely two different things. Like
right, you can't balance for one without affecting the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Like,
I think that's the biggest issue with it right now, I think.
Like for the longest time, Frost mages, if anyone who's PvP'd before Cataclysm, Frost mages were the de facto gods of PvP.
Yeah.
Them and rogues, like that's
Rogues.
where they were.
Oh,
And that was just
Rogues
because they had
master-
all the tools and were nuts. They
That's
were
just-
shit in PvE.
CC back in the day was so strong because not every class had. Now you think about
Exactly.
now, every class has a silence, some sort of CC, right?
And
Back in the day, the only people that had like silences and interrupts were like rogues and mages. I think warriors had it, but then you had to switch to Zerker stance to do it, or you had to have shield bass and defensive stance. Like you couldn't do it in arms or battle stance.
right, no,
And-
you had to know what you were doing, and then
Yeah, it's crazy.
mages had Frost mages had the lion's share of anything
Yeah.
resembling CC.
Always slows, freezes, stuns. Well, actually, did they have a stun? Yeah, because I think if you spec'd a little bit into fire, you could get it to where your fire blast did a stun or something like
You
that.
could get well at the time, Pyroblast was a talent, and there was another one that made it a crits on Pyroblast stun, I think,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. They had some sort of stun, I think, but and they had a silence. It was insane. I mean, they had every diminishing return. It was incredible.
But
And then
the
other
trade-off
classes
for
had
that
nothing.
was you didn't see them at all in PvE.
Yeah, no, they were
It was-
worthless. in
It was the
PvE.
PvP spec, and everybody knew it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
their DPS
Yeah, that's
was
like how
terrible.
Feral and I think Hunters are now.
Yeah, they're more PvP.
Well, I
Yes,
guess Hunters
because
are
hunters
just kind
are
of
OP
like
in
Well-
PvP
well,
right
Feral-
now because
General.
of their
Feral
character
is very, very cyclic. With Armor Pen, Feral was the melee DPS at the end of Wrath.
yeah.
And honestly, because of that, Feral has suffered ever since. But
Yeah. As Brash and I know, Alpha likes to complain a lot. But yeah. So we're coming
should
up
just
on
give it up and learn how to tank.
so we're coming up on 2 hours,
Or heal.
and so I think I'm gonna call the pod here. So I want to thank Large for coming in and being co-host. Really
Anytime.
appreciate it. Thank you for Xanol and Arculos for popping in for a little bit and having a chat. You guys are always
Maybe
welcome.
next time we'll get my character thing.
Yeah,
working.
I will hopefully get that working because I'm kind of bummed about that.
If you can't get the actual character model, you got to get the bear dancing one. Though.
Yeah, I will.
Got to do it.
Definitely.
Close enough.
So yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. You guys make this pod. Without you guys, we have nothing. So thank you. Huge shout out to you guys. Yeah, so we'll be back. It's still new time, new day. It's gonna be Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. So please come and check us out. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.